Even though it's not political, putting 1,000 drag queens out into the street of New York once a year is kind of like sticking a thermometer up Manhattan's butt.
We're here! We're here! We're queer! We're queer!
Let's see how we're accepted. Let's see how it works.
We march today! We march today! Together! Together!
I kind of find it to be like a rebellious action.
Making room for everybody! We're making room for everybody!
A radical action.
We're changing the world! We're changing the world!
The forces that put the Drag March into motion were these people who asked us to assimilate.
Get used to it! Get used to it!
We're the anti-assimilation march. If we assimilate, they're still going to hate us. And so we just need to lead.
To me, it kind of feels like a ritual. It's my favorite event of the year.
Why do we want democracy? Why do we want it now? Why do we want it?
Pride is a concept that has been hard fought and won in the LGBTQ+ community. That's why Pride Month is such an important time for so many people. It's an opportunity for us to gather as a community and celebrate our voices, history, and achievements. Here in New York, one of the best Pride celebrations is the Drag March. The annual protest/visibility march, which started in 1994, serves as an unofficial kickoff to NYC Pride weekend. Thousands of participants first gather at Tompkins Square Park before making their way to Greenwich Village. Along the way, marchers chant, sing, and send forth glorious vibes that Pride is known for. The march concludes with a joyous celebration outside the legendary Stonewall Inn. We talked to two of the figures involved with the Drag March, Brian Griffin and Stephen Love, to learn about the march's origins, traditions, and all the hard work that goes into the celebration. Leaderless, non-corporate, and above all, inclusive, the Drag March aims to celebrate all members of the LGBTQ+ community in their unique brilliance. I'm Peppermint, and this isn't just our history, this is legendary.
I'm Brian Griffin, also known as Harmony Moore, the Church Ladies for Choice, and sometimes known as Sister Mary Enterprise, going where no nun has gone before, as I make my way into the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence of New York City.
Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, this is Mother Teresa Nervina from the Seattle. The only good homosexual is a dying homosexual. We're here today to oppose the Vatican.
Back in the early 90s, when I moved to New York, I joined ACT UP and was also involved with a group called WHAM, Women's Action Health Mobilization, or the women's group that matched ACT UP. And so we dressed up as church ladies to defend women's healthcare facilities, abortion clinics, and I decided I would take on the name Harmony Moore. When you do an ACT UP demonstration, there's a chant that we have, how many more have to die? But you say it for an hour or two and it turns into Harmony Moore has to die. And who is this poor woman and why are we trying to kill her? My church lady introduction was, hi, I'm Harmony Moore, as in Harmony Moore women must die of botched illegal abortions due to the fascist injustices of the American right wing and their psycho-Christian lapdogs. Something's better than nothing, yes, but nothing's better than more. Thank you, Stephen Sondheim. We would go to women's healthcare facilities and we would entertain the people who were defending the clinics, because if you kept the numbers up, then they wouldn't be blockaded. So that was how I did drag. We called it booger drag, street drag. We still gather and sing our songs, tell our stories, and entertain, usually to raise money for homeless LGBTQIA+ youth.
Mary and Gloria, chilling on the floor with God is so
27 years ago was the 25th anniversary of the Stonewall riots. There was to be a big celebration, and Gilbert Baker was going to come and sew a mile-long rainbow flag that was going to be the centerpiece of all of this. The organizers for Stonewall 25, they had put out a press release that stated that they did not want anyone showing up in drag or leather so as to create a palatable image for the Midwest. And it was Gilbert who actually said the words, "We should throw a drag march." And it was like this chrysanthemum of white light went off in my head because of the 4 years of ACT UP, I knew how to do it. Not only did I know how to, I saw it happening. I also knew that if I got 1,000 drag queens marching in the street, the cops could do nothing. Like at Stonewall 25, there's no way they're going to stop us because one baton raised, one arrest made, and we win. We just get the whole box of chocolate. I turned to him and I said, "Oh my God, we're gonna have a drag march."
I'm Stephen Menendez, Stephen Love Menendez. I'm an activist and I'm an artist. I'm a photographer. The way that I would describe my drag persona is I kind of call it man drag because I kind of do interpretations of mythical or godly kind of figures. So I've done Jesus, God, Neptune. That's my inspiration for my drag. Drag March is my favorite event of the year in New York City because there's really very little police presence. It's not barricaded. It feels very free. This kind of more spirited, free, love is the answer kind of movement. And Drag March feels like it's still happening. My rainbow flag activism started during Occupy Wall Street. There was a moment when the police had broken down the encampment and then they had reopened it. And I decided to bring a rainbow flag that said peace. When I put the flags up the first time, people started coming up to me as the installation was going up and they were saying, "Oh, this is in honor of Gilbert Baker," because Gilbert had just died recently. And so people were seeing it as an homage to Gilbert, who designed the flag. For me, it's important to carry the legacy of the rainbow flag because it's the symbol for the LGBTQ movement. And so I felt like if the Stonewall National Monument is the first monument, there should be some kind of symbol. And the rainbow flag is kind of like the universal symbol to represent the movement.
It's important that the drag march be leaderless because without leaders, people are encouraged more to be themselves. They're not following. We want the drag march to be about providing aesthetic directions, not recreating or mimicking them.
Why do we want equality? When do we want it now? Why do we want equality?
I want it to be this spontaneous, magical thing that almost just happens and happens differently every time.
There's a very spiritual tone to it, while at the same time being very celebratory. For me, it's kind of like the perfect union of celebrating life, but being in touch with the spiritual elements that bring all of life together.
The drag march starts at 7 o'clock in Tompkins Square Park. The calling out of the corners that happens at the beginning, which for me as a theater person is setting the stage. It's raising the curtain.
We gather in the East.
We gather in the East.
We bid each other welcome.
We bid each other welcome.
We gather together.
We gather together.
Solidarity.
Solidarity.
A testament to the fire.
A testament to the fire.
Passion, our passion.
Our passion, our power.
It's preparing people to see that this is, even though we're all individuals, this is going to be a collective endeavor, and it gets them in that frame of mind. You call on the spirits of the North, East, South, and West to enjoin the drag march and propel it forward. We make our way down 9th Street. Crossing through 5th Avenue, we sing the Stonewall Girls chant, which is, "We are the Stonewall Girls, we wear our hair in curls, we wear no underwear, we show our pubic hair." And then when we get to the Stonewall, we gather into a circle and we sing the classic queer yearning hymn, somewhere over the rainbow. That's one of the magical moments that I live for every year.
To me, pride means unabashedly celebrating yourself for everything that you are. Pride is claiming your power, is a rebellious action to all the people that have oppressed LGBTQ people, in their youth or even to this day.
The forces that put the Drag March into motion were these people who asked us to assimilate, to recreate the image of greater, heterosexual America, except for what we do in bed so that they'll accept us. And the Drag March says, no, they need to come to us. We're the leaders. We're the aesthetic leaders. We're the ones who will create the images that they will then assimilate to. And we're the artists and the experimenters and the dreamers and, oh God, I sound like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory.
For me, drag is dressing up in a way that's expressing the way that you feel inside, and it's kind of breaking out of the regular norm of what society sees as regular ways of presenting yourself. And I find it a more fun, expressive, creative, artistic way to express yourself. So in Western culture, queer people have been oppressed historically for thousands of years. What I find interesting is when I've studied indigenous cultures, and in those cultures, either people that identify as two-spirit or queer or gay, in those cultures, they may not even have names for that. Sometimes those people were seen as, ended up being shamans of the tribes, the wise person that people go to for counsel. So they were held in high esteem in a lot of indigenous cultures. It's in modern times that it changed. That's how I see queer people. I see them as leaders, truth tellers, wise ones.
I like to think of myself as a jester. Society in and of itself allows you to say and do different things when you're in a costume. And they allow drag queens to say and be different things. There are continued traditions that just happen because the community needs them. There will always be queers. There will always be, whether we call them the LGBTQIA plus community or queers or fags or homos or dykes or lesies, we're gonna be here. We've always been here. And we're, as a church lady, we're a part of the creation. We're needed. It takes a village, and we bring that village into being. I think of it a lot of the time as the little march that could, the little community march, the march of friends who gather to see each other once a year. Even though it's not political, putting 1,000 drag queens out into the street of New York once a year is kind of like sticking a thermometer up Manhattan's butt. Let's see how we're accepted. Let's see how it works. Let's see what's going on this year. God is a lesbian, she is a lesbian, God is a dyke. Send her Victoria, Mary and Gloria, she'll lick it on the floor with ya, God is a dyke.